All right, so we are back again. It's Monday the 30th, and this week you'll be able to take your week one reassessment. So this is the second version of this test that I've gone over now. You can look at both of these before taking your reassessment if you weren't happy with your score. Grades are posted on Progress Book right now from that. When you're also done taking your test, you should be able to review it to see what your score was. So hopefully you did that. And took notes of answers that you missed, but if you didn't, we'll go over all those now. This was the test that I took as an example, all right? And just as a reminder, you can see when I go to look at these and see your responses, I see the time that it took you to complete the test, and then obviously your score. But for this, I can tell when people, obviously I took it in a minute, but I made up the test, so obviously I know the answers and didn't redo them. But when people take 2 and 3 minutes to get through this, I can tell you're just rushing through it. Don't do that. Take your time. Watch the iReady lessons first. Do those quizzes. You should know if you're ready to take that or not. I'm hearing that if you take the iReady quiz twice, it cuts you off after that. I don't know if that to be true or not, but if that's the case, send me an email and I can reload that lesson on if you want to see it again or whatever. So I can do that. All right, so first 2 questions aren't graded, obviously first and last name. And from there you go on and do the questions. So first question, Ryan wants to know about traffic in Johnstown. He surveys 115 random drivers. There are approximately 3,300 drivers in Johnstown. What value represents the population in this scenario? Again, talked about this last week when we went over these. There's the sample and there's the population. The sample is the part, all right, that's supposed to represent the group, and the population is the entire amount that you are looking at. So in this case, what value represents the population? It should be 3,300. All right, go on to question number 4. Olivia wants to know what flavors of ice cream middle school students prefer. She asked 60 randomly selected middle school students. There are 395 middle school students. What value represents the sample? The sample is the part that represents it. That's the 60. Number 5, you want to know the favorite restaurant for all Johnstown residents. You survey 100 random residents at the grocery store. Would the responses to this survey be a valid representation? All right, or you survey, 10. I might have said 100 there. You surveyed 10 random residents. All right. So one thing that we said about sample is it's got to be a size that's represented. We're looking for all Johnstown residents. All right, what are the chances that 10 and only 10 would represent the group? All right, typically you would say with that, 10 is not a big enough sample size, all right, to get a good idea. So there's more than 10 restaurants even within Johnstown, let alone everywhere else. So no, because 10 is not a good sample size for all Johnstown residents. All right. Now the other one, if there were 100 samples, all right, you get a good variety that go to the grocery store. So yeah, maybe that's a good answer. All right. Number 6, you want to know how customers feel about your business. You leave comment cards for them to voluntarily fill out and return. Why could this method of data collection lead to invalid data? All right. Talked about this when we went over it last time, also in class before you left and all that, but it's going to potentially be invalid because usually with the idea of voluntarily, all right, you get people that are only passionate one way or another. You're not really hitting the whole group. All right, so only people with passionate opinions will be most likely to reply to that. Number 7, you want to estimate the number of students in middle school who ride the bus. Which sample is most valid? Ask 15 teachers. Probably not. All right. A lot of times teachers drive their kids to school, all that kind of stuff. Ask every 10th student that passes in the hallway. That's random. All right. You'll get a good selection of the number of students with that. That's good. Ask your 10 friends that sit with you at lunch. No, because you may have things in common. Maybe you're athletes or something like that. Get there early or stay late. There might be different things that change that answer. And ask the first 20 kids who arrive at school. Probably not, because they may arrive early because they're dropped off, or maybe there's an early bus. All right. probably not a good one. So the idea of being random is what we want there. Number 8, in a random sample of 25 adults, 12 said they eat at restaurants 1 time a week, 8 said they eat at restaurants 2 or more times a week, and 5 said they eat at home every night. I should have a period there. Grammatically incorrect, go figure. Based on the results, what % of adults would you expect to eat at home every night of the week? All right, eat at home every night of the week. It's a good sample because it's a random sample. All right. Based on the results, we're using the results. They have 5, so they eat every night of the week. That's the part. All right. And it said that there were a population of 25, or the sample of 25. 5 out of 25 gives you 0.2, which is 20%. All right, which is the answer that we want there. All right. Number 9. In a random sample of 25 adults, said the same exact question until you get to the end, or the same exact scenario. If 1,200 adults were surveyed, all right, that's the size of the sample. All right, what would be a good estimate for the number of adults who eat at a restaurant 2 or more times a week? All right, eat 2 or more times. Only 8 said they eat 2 or more times, so 8 out of 25. When you do that one, you get a percentage, so you should divide. 8 divided by 25, you get 0.32, or 32% of the adults sampled. Of, there were 1,200, of means multiply. 0.32 times 1,200 should give you about 380, because remember, I think the answer might have been 375, if I recall right. But it said, could you expect or be a good estimate? It's never going to be exact, but it should predict if it's a good sample. So about 380. Number 10, in a survey of 400 Johnstown High School students, 120 said their favorite subject was history. And it uses these results to conclude that out of 5,000 Licking County high school students, that's all the schools in our county, approximately 1,500 would prefer history as well. Is this an accurate statement? All right, so first of all, is Johnstown a good representation of all of the county? All right, maybe, maybe not. All right, there's some things about Johnstown that are unique compared to other districts, more than likely, but they might be. But what we're doing here is a preference thing. When you guys come to liking certain subjects more than the other, maybe it has something to do with the teacher, maybe it has something to do with the subject, maybe it has to do with a combination of both. All right, so with this, the answer would most likely be no, because certain teachers may be liked more than others, which could influence the result within a particular school. So maybe a particular school has a teacher that they just absolutely love that teaches science, and for that reason, science is very popular in that school. All right, so hopefully that one makes sense. Number 11. Survey asked 48 randomly chosen students if they were going to attend the school play. 16 said yes. How many said yes? 16. How many were chosen? 48. That's 16 out of 48. As a percentage, I believe that is 1/3 or 0.3 repeating. All right, so that's 33% approximately. All right, or 1/3 of the 300 students. Of means multiply, and you get about 100. And the final question out of the 10 is a true or false question. Random representative sample. Random. Representative. All right, random means that it's not favoring or selecting one certain group. All right, so there's random results. Representative means it represents the entire group. Typically will not accurately predict the outcome. All right, key here is will not. All right, and that's false, because it typically will predict the outcome of the entire population. That's why samples are taken, is to be able to make a statistical inference about what should happen. All right, if not, we'd have to ask everyone. All right, hopefully that helps you with your reassessment this week. If you have questions about the lessons for week 2, you can always email. Make sure you go through those iReady assignments, and make sure that you take those quizzes, watch those supplementary videos if you need them. There's extra practice on there too. Any questions about the website whatsoever, make sure you're asking. But between the reassessment and the week 2 summative assessment, those are due by the end of the day on Friday. Hopefully now you're getting there. I think I've contacted anyone who hasn't been on. And hope everybody's staying safe, and hope to see you soon.